our next speaker's success at such a young age is not a surprise. A serial entrepreneur, if there ever was one, he is here to tell us about his green scooters. A round of applause for Fezile Dhlamini.
It's afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Fezile Dhlamini. I'm the founder and CEO of Green Scooter. And I'll just take you through some things and the particular topic that I'm just trying to articulate and make sure that a lot of people grasp. So our company founded it in 2015, and it was literally divine intervention. And the reason I started the company was to solve a particular problem that people never knew and understood that they had. And that was the first mile, last mile transport issue. So with that, I took it to go and create a whole product. And this product was supposed to solve this last mile solution, which is an electric vehicle. And with that, over the years, we've managed to work with a plethora of companies, and all those companies have been within the FMCG space and also the retail space. And also, we were the first company in the whole world to do two things. One, put electric vehicles in the township to foster this entire new market of delivering amakota and mkhodu for mkhodu Mondays, etc. And then as well, we found ourselves producing and providing our vehicles to companies like PepsiCo and the like to deliver first mile transport. So again, using micromobility as a solution. Over the years, I started the company with literally no funding, in the sense that I couldn't get any funding from anybody. And that took like a long time for me to explain and be told that the whole thing won't work. So over years, we've had the pleasure of working with your McDonald's, your Vodacom, VNA Waterfront, now Pepsi and Spa. So what we've managed to show as well over time is that it is possible to build electric vehicles. It is possible to make electric vehicles work in South Africa, or Africa nonetheless. And representing people who look like me is also a plus, right? So now we've migrated to the next phase, our Scooter 2.0. And this is our next product. This is pretty much going to be the most advanced electric three-wheeler in the whole world for a number of reasons. Currently, our product that you saw in one of the second slides has a payload capacity of 450 kilos. This one over here, we're pushing it even further. So you're going to carry like up to 700 kilograms of goods. You can literally, you'll have about 3,000 liters of space. And you'll probably most likely like to reach about 400 kilometers of range per day. So this, if you look at it as an economic opportunity and you're building a product, you need to build your product inside out, and you need to understand who you're building it for, which I always say is three things. One side is the engineering side, there's the science side, but then there's also the business. So with that, we've said, you focus on the job to be done with the product, the pain it's supposed to take away, and the gain that the person using it is supposed to get. That is when products are functional. That's when you're building things that people love. So the entire topic it was actually removed earlier, but it was how do we create innovative solutions that are sustainable within this automotive space. The automotive space is up for the taking. People don't actually realize it. The same way you can go anywhere in the world and find a BMW is the same way I'm building products, which I want when anybody goes anywhere in the world, they can also buy my product. So, what do we mean by this? Or as an opportunity, is the transfer employment promotion, but it sounds also a bit outdated. A lot of people like saying, let's promote employment, let's promote entrepreneurship. It's outdated because, the application is not being applied properly. And when you think of this word, does it ever cross your mind that it isn't even inclusive? So if you talk opportunity, when you talk inclusivity, are we actually applying ourselves the way that it should be done? And how do we redefine it without leaving anyone behind? So I guess that's why everyone's here. But when I think of opportunity, when I think of innovation, I always say, we cannot define it, but we can see it. And in my worldview, opportunity is the ability to have foresight. So it's knowing that people are going to have problems without even realizing it. So when you look at South Africa's automotive landscape, it started out way back in 1924, and over the years, you can see the mix of all these automotive companies coming into South Africa and establishing themselves. But there's never been a real seeding of investment, of creating our own automotive industry itself, because South Africans actually don't even own it. You know, the only part that we own is supply chain. So the history and what I want to focus on is that the saddening part of South Africa's automotive industry is that South Africans own no part. We're merely consumers. And what is even more phenomenal is that you cannot find a single South African car in any other part of the world, let alone South Africa. So there's a more significant opportunity for yourselves being here, and as the industry itself, that has transformed from horse to carriage, internal combustion to electric vehicle, to actually be a part of it. And the next generation of highly skilled engineers and scientists needs to champion this industry and find collaborative measures to build it internally for global consumption. So the resources and the skills are here now today. This is the tomorrow we talk of, but this is the tomorrow that we need to be equipping efficiently. So what are we going to do about it, and what are you doing about it? So the stakeholders are in this room to also help transform it. So we hope that with that, there'll be that investment. South Africa has also built a world-class automotive sector, production capacity through state support and ongoing collaboration with global OEMs. The shift from ICE to EVs is a disruption trend for the automotive industry worldwide, and South Africa has no exception. So we have to take part of it. What people don't know about electric vehicles is that they actually date back all the way to technically 1834, where that was the first type of vehicle that was built. And what it was pretty much used for was first mile and last mile transport. She'll have the mom who's at home who will go and use this, wind up the electric vehicle and use it to go buy groceries and then come back home. And this thing has actually happened way before the trends even came up. So what you actually have to realize is that you don't have to wait 10 years or 7 years, as the speculators would say. You can actually do it today, because it happened over 100 years ago. Actually, 200 years ago. And we need to understand that, you also need to understand why it did not work and why it did work. So there's a lot of things when developing and creating products that you have to R&D it, but always look beyond the seams. You know how they always say, the devil's in the details, right? And EVs are important for Africa for its positive economic impact. The genesis of what will drive Africa's agenda in terms of owning this important economic sector will be done by Africans for Africa. If anything, when building products and you're going to constantly think of importing it right throughout in terms of end-to-end value chain, it's never going to take us anywhere. It's never going to enrich the actual society that it needs to enrich. So the value chain, right? This is the part where I was actually on a phone call just now coming here, where we're constantly trying to educate and trying to show people of why the value chain is important. And where does it start? It's something that starts here and now. It starts with understanding that an electric vehicle like ours has 270 parts versus an internal combustion engine, where the engine itself has over 2,000 parts. Which part of that entire process do you own? Now, you also have to understand with electric vehicles, it uses a battery. The battery component, all those natural resources are found here. Where are we in that agenda? Are we going to consistently look at importing and dumb ourselves down for an industry that we're not going to take ownership of? But let me go to the next phase. So the current value chain of the entire automotive industry is split like this. You've got manufacturers, component manufacturers, your tier 1, your tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. You've got your OEMs and advanced manufacturing technologies. You've got your dealers, your retailers, and the upliftment, which is boring. We need to take a 2.0. The 2.0 is there's mining, there's battery cell manufacturing, which is something we're actually busy with right now as an R&D project. There's battery cell assembly, which a lot of people are doing, which is not sustainable because you're getting B-grade batteries or different types of cells which are underperforming. And even the BMS itself is not even made locally. You've got EV manufacturers, you've got the sales dealerships, EV services, and the EV component recycling. That in ourselves as a company is where we focused ourselves in making sure that we are literally like the owners within that space. But where does this take us with all the people sitting here in this room? Is that, if you can just tilt your head and read the side there, it says, from industry leaders, there's industry leaders could be performing R&D and looking to equally participate in this economy. So it could be anyone in this room that is working on a rotor motor, that's working on what's that thing called? Sorry, keep on forgetting all these parts. The batteries, there's your motor controllers, there's your in-hub motors and the like. Anyone could literally start designing and R&Ding something. The only issue is the next step is how do you finance that whole thing? So again, you have like the stakeholders who've brought us into this room that can help you participate in it, right? I mean, again, if you tilt your head, stakeholders can diversify their portfolios to develop of these new industries. Monetary and infrastructure support is the core deliverable. So it can start today in getting people to start participating in the automotive industry. I mean, Ford in Silverton has really invested about 15 billion. The 15 billion is to acquire space they've acquired the space, 142,000 square meters, and that's where they're looking at doing assembly work for all of these electric vehicles. What does it mean for you today? Not when you're done with matric, not when you're done with varsity, but what does it mean for you today? How do you start conceptualizing things? How we see the value chain, this is pretty much where we are as Green Scooter. We manufacture electric vehicles, we provide first mile, last mile delivery, transport. We are working on our battery cell manufacturing. We are also working on with another partner for scooter financing. EV stations is something we've been talking to many stakeholders, public and private, since 2018, and the EV dealerships. So our entire approach, which is what I implore you to look at, is to always focus on a vertical integration of building your business. Vertical integration allows no disruptions. That's why it's so easy for a Tesla to sell 1,000 vehicles, make $1 billion worth of profit, and General Motors, they need to sell 10,000 vehicles to just make $1 billion. That should be something that you look into. And yeah, I mean, right now we've also done, with all of the stuff that you see there, we've done a lot of POCs with different companies that has given us our position within the market. If anyone talks EVs, they literally call us, and we provide our consultancy services as well. So if you wanted me to design a vehicle for you, or create an entire network for smarter mobility, you literally call us. As South Africans sitting today and as the future STEM stakeholders, you can look at it in this way. You can participate in this economy from doing parts, accessories for electric vehicles, democratizing manufacturing through 3D printing technologies. You can try and vie and get some aggressive government intervention through proactive public policy making, private sector input. I did mention the private policy. Then, I mean, if you want to build a battery cell manufacturing facility that is like at a large scale, try and get $1 billion. That's how much it will cost you. And then, yeah, I mean, South Africa needs to create an enabling environment for South Africans to equally participate in this multinational sector. South Africans need to raise these future technologies we are developing. I mean, these are future technologies we are developing will also need to be split in the following way. It's clean energy, business model innovation, and transportation as a service. Because at the end of the day, I mean, people need to move, people need to get somewhere. Mobility is a basic right. How do you define it? Quick action points for any one of you today. I mean, you need to define your career interests early and have a plan to get there. But not everyone will actually know what they'll be doing by the time they turn 24, 25. I mean, I never thought I was going to own a business, but I eventually did it because I got obsessed with a problem. And then if you see yourself in business, realize that business model innovation is going to be very important, because you're not just creating something hand to mouth. You need to create something sustainable that has longevity. You're not focusing on the optics. You're focusing on the actual sustainability side. And then always remember that STEM builds tomorrow, unfortunately. Social impact investing, again, for our stakeholders that are sitting here today, is a trend, and you can find ways to benefit to build new products. That's, again, diversifying portfolios. And if you guys know what thing in the picture is, it's something that I really love. It's Iron Man, so that's his arc reactor. So I said it's time to place Africa at the forefront of this automotive sector globally, as we are home of the resources needed to develop the core of it. Thank you.